Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're your hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
Every weekday, we pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
Find Talking Fitchburg on cable TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our live stream on the web. Plus, you can find all our headlines and stories on Facebook, YouTube, and our video on demand service. This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues affecting you and your neighbors.
Want to know what's happening in your city? Get Notify Me messages from the City of Fitchburg. Visit fitchburgwi.gov on your computer or mobile device and select the big Notify Me button on the left. Enter your email and/or phone number, whichever is best for you to get notifications. Scroll down the list and select all the topics you're interested in to receive email or text messages about. You'll be notified every time one of your topics is updated. Sign up for Notify Me, one more way to keep up with your Fitchburg government.
Good evening, everyone. It is September 11th at 6:31, 2025, and this is the regular monthly meeting of Fitchburg's Transportation and Transit Commission. For the note taker, we will have a quorum. Elizabeth Ward is on video, and Gabriella is absent with excuse. And do we have anything on Ariel?
I haven't gotten anything.
Yes, and she is not present. All the other commissioners are present. Next, we'll approve the agenda or amend it. Any motion?
Oh, Steve, I will mention I got an email from Ariel that she wasn't going to be able to make it today.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Move to approve the minutes.
Agenda.
Agenda, sorry.
Yes. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Anybody want to change anything on the agenda? We can't add things. Seeing no discussion, all in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
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 Any opposed? That was unanimous. Now the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes.
Okay, great. Thank you, Rick. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Maggie. On to any discussion, changes, updates to the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor of approving them as submitted, say aye.
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 Any opposed? That passed unanimously. On to staff report.
All right, I've got updates on a bunch of projects, so I'll move through these fairly quickly. Stop me if you have questions on any of them. Sain Road Phase 2, it's all the surface asphalt is paved, and Phase 2 is south of West Clayton Road, so south of the fire station. All the surface pavement is paved, everything's finished except for the painting and the signs. The signs are going up right now and the painting should be done tomorrow. And then next week we'll have a punch list meeting. We'll go through everything that still, the little ticky-tack things that still need to be done, and then they'll finish those up next week and it'll be open on the 19th.
On that, what's going to be the posted speed limit through there?
I believe it's 25. I would have to double check on that.
Back during the neighborhood steering committee meeting, they were advocating for 30 instead of 35.
It might be. I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay. I'll find out soon enough.
The sign, there is a sign up that says it there now.
Okay, but it won't be on Street View yet.
Right. Sign.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Yep. Phase 3. They finished up the pond excavation that they've been working on, and then they'll do the actual road base that goes under the asphalt this week and next week. They're going to be pouring concrete in 2 weeks. That'll take them about a week total, I believe. And then they're going to be paving in about 3 to 4 weeks. That is scheduled to open on November 3rd. Fitchburg Road, we have the TPP on our agenda tonight. After the TPP is approved, we'll get into property negotiations on that project. That's scheduled to bid in February of 26 and then be constructed from May to October-ish of 2026. So, questions on that project?
Well, since we're going to discuss it in the agenda, should we ask you questions now?
If it's about the TPP, ask it in that agenda item. If it's about the project in general, ask it now.
All right, maybe it's about the project in general.
Okay.
Or
If you ask, I can just tell you.
roundabout projects in general. What criteria do we use to decide where a roundabout should be placed?
So we get traffic studies done, this specific type of traffic study is called an intersection study. We get those done before we start the design for a project, and we make a decision based on the amount of traffic going through that intersection, how much real estate we have, because roundabouts take up more real estate than a signalized intersection generally, and the other major intersections in the area. So basically for this location, both a signal and a roundabout would have met the criteria for the build out year of 2045, I believe was what we used. But we went with a roundabout because there's already a roundabout at Nesbitt Road, and then there's already the one down Lacey at Seminole Highway. So it made the most sense for this kind of L-shaped corridor, if you think about it that way, to be all roundabouts.
So it's a 20-year time horizon, what traffic would be there 20 years hence?
Generally, yes.
Okay.
Sometimes we go out further if we know there's going to be development past 20 years. But yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And when that project was done, it was a 25-year horizon.
Oh.
When that study was done.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Wayland Road bike lanes, we're finalizing the design of that this winter, and we're going to construct that hopefully April and May of 2026. Get that one knocked out early before Fitchburg starts. County Highway MM underpass, the design contract will be hopefully approved at council on October 14th. It'll get referred out at the next council meeting, the September 23rd meeting. That project will be scheduled to bid in March of 27, and then construction will have to start by June of 27 based on our grant. So.
Is that enough time to that turnaround in 27? Does that give you pause or?
No, we can bid projects and start them within a month.
Okay.
So usually we don't have like a date that we have to start construction by. That's the only difference here. BRT, this is kind of a big one. We are looking at moving to side running stations instead of the center running stations. This is mainly a cost saving measure. The Fitchburg portion of this project, the whole project is running over budget, and we're a little bit worried about the federal funding and the state of that and how that will reduce our available funding. So we're looking at any way to save money that we can. The 60% plans that will be coming out in about 2 weeks will show center running stations in Fitchburg, but those plan sheets will have a note that says that the station locations will be revised. And then we'll have a revision to the 60% plan set that will show the side running stations. The reason for doing that is the 60% plans are a milestone in the FTA grant process. So it behooves us to stay on schedule with the 60% plans and get those out, even if we know we're going to be making a major design change.
I could see how that change could be a lengthy discussion. Are we, would we be planning to have that sort of discussion sometime? Doesn't have to be now.
I mean, once we have those 60% plans, I would present them to this commission.
Yeah. But like, if I think about one station versus two, I would think in simple terms that one would be cheaper than two.
The side running stations are smaller in general, because they're only, if you think about it, they only have to be half a station, half of one of the center running stations. And it significantly reduces how much reconstruction work we have to do on Fish Hatchery Road. So, because the median is not quite wide enough to fit these center running stations, so everywhere we were putting one, we were having to widen the median and therefore the road. So that led to a lot of rework in pavement and concrete, moving curb, stuff like that.
So in a greenfield situation, Rick would be right, but not in our retrofit situation.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Okay, so it's more of the cost of the fish hatchery changes.
Megan?
No, I was just wondering if we got any updates on the federal funding that are impacting our decision making.
So nothing, no actual updates, nothing official. But the projects that have been getting funded federally have been more of a 50-50 local federal cost share instead of what we expected with the last administration, which was an 80% federal, 20% local cost share. So obviously our money goes a lot further when 30% more of it's coming from the federal government.
Yeah.
So.
One more on that, Ross. It does solve, are they also considering side running on Park Street?
No, because they have to reconstruct Park Street completely either way.
Okay, so so that solves the bicycle facilities on the road problem for Fish Hatchery, but not Park Street. I did, while I was down at preparing, I guess last Wednesday night I was downtown, and I took a photo of a Sharrow on the Capitol Concourse in a red lane, just to make sure that we have precedent, letting you know we have precedent for marking Sharrows on the bus-only lane. The reason for that is because if we do not mark Sharrows, even if we're permissive about bicyclists in the bus-only lanes, we get drivers angry because they're thinking that the bikes are scoffing the laws. And so I do want to get Sharrows painted on those red lanes, whether they're side or center running.
If there were people either in the meeting or watching the meeting that didn't know what the word Sharrow meant.
Oh, a Sharrow is a shared lane marking, and it indicates areas where motor vehicles and bicyclists can expect each other. And it, in addition to kind of trying to raise awareness, it also shows the proper positioning. So if you see Sharrows on a bicycle boulevard, they'll be right in the middle of the lane, but if you see Sharrows on a 14-foot arterial, they'll be off to the right, because on that situation, there's enough room for the bikes and the cars to pass each other.
Okay. Then my last thing is the Fish Hatchery Road work that's being done by the county. Obviously, Fish Hatchery Road is a county highway. They're fixing a lot of the broken concrete, mainly at the intersections of Lacey and East Sherrill. A lot of that's in the turn lanes, and the shoulders there are pretty broken up. I was supposed to have a map from the county before this meeting. I don't have a map of everything, but it's not going to fix every issue you have with the shoulders, Steve. It'll make it better at the intersections, but not the whole length of the road.
Yeah, they were saw cutting today.
Yep.
So
that work will start on the 15th. Yeah.
It's just for just for the public and any county engineers that are watching, the Sharrows are very severely, the shoulders are very severely fragmented through that stretch, and it tempts bicyclists to ride in the general travel lane. So it would be great if they got fixed too.
So that's my staff report, unless there's any other questions.
When's that finish? It starts on the 15th?
It ends, I just sent the email out about it. October 16th.
So they close a lane at a time? Do they have to use quick setting concrete?
They're using 6-hour mix. Yeah.
All right, seeing no more questions?
I have a couple that are on those items. Of course I do. Sorry, Ross.
Yes, all right.
I'll make them fast. They're mostly follow-ups from things we've talked about in previous TTC meetings. I had some neighbors ask me the status of the RRFB on Sain at Swan Creek Park. That was the one that got hit by the car right after it got installed. Just wanted to see if that was, if there's a status update there.
No real update. I'm still trying to get that electrician to get that reinstalled, to get a new one installed.
We've got the parts now.
I honestly don't know.
Okay, it was originally a supply chain problem, right?
No, it's been the electrician not emailing or calling me back.
Oh my goodness.
So
We still use that electrician though.
yes, they do a lot of good work on a lot of our other projects. I've never really had an issue with them before, so I'm not clear what the issue is here.
Interesting.
But yeah.
Lacey Road from Central Park to 14. I know with the Sain construction that has been a multiple, I know you've gotten multiple emails. I know I've gotten multiple emails about that. And you said at one point you were working with WISDOT on the 14 interchange. Any updates on what that's looked like at all?
I have sent a couple of emails to WISDOT requesting various small changes to that interchange, and they say they'll look at them, and then that's the end of the communication.
Okay.
So it's their interchange, it's their jurisdiction, so anything there is up to them to change.
Okay. And then Central Park, I just wanted to kind of put out a call to say, hey, now that we have the UW Health groundbreaking, that the new clinic is starting this year, and there might be more development starting creeping up into Uptown. I don't know if we want to start looking at signals or some other stop control for Lacey at Central Park. Obviously, again, right now it's been so much because of Sain, but I still counted like 12 cars stacked up there trying to turn left, which if they listened to you and turned right and went to the roundabout, it would be an issue. But
so in the neighborhood plan, I believe it was for that area, that intersection is, there's enough room there for a roundabout. It would be basically the same as the one just to the kind of south.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we would be a little ways from implementing that there.
okay.
Because that intersection really just stacks up at peak times, and I haven't done an actual traffic study there, but it's only peak times that I've seen issues. So
Is that roundabout in the CIP?
no.
The last one I can speak. The last one I had was just about painting the curbs on Lacey in Terravessa, where there's been people parking too close to the crosswalks. Just wanted to see if there was any updates on that at all. I've been getting hounded for that.
That is on our streets crews list to paint. They ran out of yellow paint when doing the no passing zone at on Wayland Road at the T intersection with Seminole Highway. So they've ordered more yellow paint. They're gonna finish that no passing zone and then do the curb paint.
Awesome. That's all I have.
I'll have one that Logan reminded me of. In the spring, we talked about making the last block in Lacey that doesn't have a bike lane, Terravessa, between MM and whatever the first cross street is.
Brassica.
Yeah, between the crossing and Brassica, making it a buffered bike lane and posting it no parking. Is that still on your list of things to do?
It is. I'll look at that again.
I think it would be valuable to get that done before somebody breaks ground in that lot, commercial lot there that it confronts, just because, you know, I've been over there a lot recently on my bike and it's always parked up, and the, you know, at the same time I'm there, people are using the travel lane, so I have to signal and get out into the travel lane and stop it up. So thank you for looking into that.
Now I have one that Logan remembered.
I'm sorry.
Rick, last year,
Report 45 minutes.
we talked about, we voted to approve the reduction of the speed limit on Clayton Road to 25 miles an hour. This is, I just biked on there about 2 hours ago and I saw a 35-mile-an-hour sign. I wondered if the signs are on back order.
They're not on back order. I'm not sure why that hasn't been put up. It should have been.
Yeah, I thought
I'll follow up.
we're still passing resolution, our ordinances to change speed limits, right?
Yes, that should be 25 miles an hour. I'll follow up on it.
Okay. All right. We're all done.
Remind you of anything?
Elizabeth, do you have any questions for staff?
No, I'm just sorry, Ross, that nobody's responding to you at DOT or the electrician.
Okay.
That's all good.
All right. Get back to this somehow.
You want to know what it is?
Sure.
It's the resolution R.
Oh, let's have the transportation plat resolution. Back to the agenda. All right, let's start out with a resolution to approve, and then we'll have a staff report.
Oh, I move to approve resolution R162-25, approving relocation order of TPP related to reconstruction of Fitchburg Road.
Very good. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Your report.
Sorry, I was messing with screen sharing. But let me get back to that.
We have a map.
So Fitchburg Road is going to get reconstructed in 2026. This transportation plat has been prepared and submitted with Wisconsin state statutes to satisfy the requirement to identify lands and interests to be acquired by the city of Fitchburg related to this Fitchburg Road project. This resolution supports the use of eminent domain through a relocation order to acquire said interests in the event the owners cannot come to agreement to compensation for land and easements. And to be clear, eminent domain cannot be used for any, there are certain facilities that eminent domain cannot be used for. And
Sadly.
This resolution is not trying to obfuscate that fact. The acquisition of property includes area around the proposed roundabout and Lacey Road for right-of-way purposes and areas for drainage improvements and retaining walls outside of the current right-of-way. And there will also be easements that are outside of the right-of-way. The selected cross-section reduces the amount of land acquisition required and improves bike, ped, and vehicle travel. Temporary easements will be required at various locations along the project for grading and landscape restoration. Approval of the relocation order and filing the plat with the county clerk is required before the city can approach property owners with information offers.
I see that we are lucky that we have some public land along there that we don't need easement. We don't need to buy land or easements along the Verona Road and the Military Ridge Trail and our park. Any questions about this, about the procedure for this particular project?
For potential.
I'm curious. Oh,
No, go ahead, Elizabeth.
sorry. I'm curious in general, Ross, how often we have to use condemnation compared to just getting voluntary easements.
Well, I have been with I should say on any of my projects I've worked on with the city, we have not had to use condemnation. Honestly, on this project, the only things that I could see us having issues with negotiations where we would normally go down the condemnation route, we can't, by Wisconsin state law, we cannot use condemnation for those items. So I don't anticipate having any issues on this project. We've already spoken to all the landowners. Almost all of them are happy to get a little bit of money for a temporary easement for most of them.
Yeah, just for those who are not familiar with the process, what happens is you get an overall appraisal through a process for the lot, and then we buy it at that rate per square foot. So it's
per day for the temporary ones as well.
Yeah, per day as well. Maggie?
How many different landowners and different parcels are we looking?
So this, I believe it's something like 16 parcels. Let me get to the last one on here. There's 37 total parcels on the project, and there's 23 that we would be acquiring something from. Almost all of those are temporary limited easements, so those are only for construction purposes and only for the duration of the project. So it goes back to the property owner afterwards. Most of those on this project are just for getting their driveways to the same grade that the driveway apron we're putting in off the road is coming back to. The permanent right-of-way that we're acquiring is mostly at the roundabout. That eats into a couple of landowners' yards, and then there's also some permanent easement for drainage, kind of at the Goose Lake area of this project, and that is being acquired from public land. And then up on the north end, where we're gonna have, at the Bavaria Sausage property, we're gonna have a retaining wall to hold up the road. So we need a permanent limited easement so we can work on that retaining wall for maintenance purposes. So basically we have to get around behind it by, if you know the area, there's like a kind of tan cream colored shed. That's where the wall's gonna be.
So you don't have to move the shed or raise it and rebuild it or something?
So Ross, one quick question, hopefully. If there were to be a scenario where we have a landowner who does not want to engage in the eminent domain process and we can't go through condemnation, is it a possibility that we would have to alter the design if, for example, if we can't use condemnation for, let's say, a bike lane or something, and then somebody along the bike lane does not want to sell their, a temporary or a permanent easement, what happens in that scenario?
So I guess to clarify, the portion that we don't need to condemn for any of the bike lanes or the bike path on this project. That's all in the existing right-of-way. Or we don't need to acquire any property, for those things. The only piece of bike-related infrastructure that we would need to acquire property for is the bike slip path around the roundabout. So that is considered a piece of, I'm forgetting the actual legal term now, but basically if it's a sidewalk, you can condemn for it. If it's a multi-use path or a bike path, you cannot condemn for it. So that piece would obviously allow bikes and is outside of the right of way, so we could not condemn for it. And to answer your question, if we can't condemn for a piece of this project, and therefore can't build it, we would look at a design change, yes.
But that shouldn't affect the timeline drastically.
I hope not.
Well, we had an undercut design change for the Sayin Road, and it depends on what you think of is drastic, but
I mean,
it was a delay.
for this project, deleting a bike slip lane, if that's the change, that doesn't take very long to do.
Yep.
It's a couple of strokes on the computer.
Bicycles have the option to always take the lane in the 15-mile-an-hour roundabout or go around on the multi-use path. We would be just taking away that second option.
Any other questions?
All right, commission discussion on this resolution. It's a resolution, right?
Yes.
You know, the thing that sort of I think we can't be informed about is whether we're giving thumbs up to something that's has land acquisition costs of like $100,000 or $5 million. There's nothing in here that's quantitative in terms of what we'd be saying yes to in terms of the cost of the land acquisition.
No, there's not.
So we just have to say it's a good idea to put a roundabout
by Wisconsin state law, we cannot start negotiations until after this resolution has been passed.
Yeah.
Do we have engineers' estimates of the cost of the land that we need?
Yeah, we do. It's all been appraised.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's not necessary for us to say yes or no to this.
No.
Anything? Elizabeth, any questions or discussion?
Nope.
All right. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor of this resolution or this motion to approve, say aye.
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 And that was unanimous. Okay, next discussion items. Revisiting the Route B and Route 65 extensions to Trevorton Pike and McKee Road. I think we're on to talking about implementation now that the wheel tax has passed.
If that's what we want to talk about, then yeah. So this is, as a reminder for everybody, this is the kind of proposed reroute in this area for the 65 and 75 and B. And then this table shows, you guys can't see that part of it. That's weird. This table shows the current service on the 65 and the 75, and then the proposed service.
And if you go back to the map, it looks like the 75 is going to take a loop around Trevorton Pike. We're not going to require people to use a new enhanced crossing to get to the north side of McKee Road.
So that's our starting point for discussion with Metro, is to have every bus on that same Trevorton Pike loop. We've also discussed that if that didn't work for the timetable of the 75, that it would be an acceptable compromise to have the 75 stop on the north side of McKee and have to cross.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's clearly better for passengers to have the bus come to them. There's no parking on McKee Road. People will be presumably coming from the neighborhoods or parking on side streets if they want to park and ride. I do see the speed benefits for the 75, which has got a long way to go. Would there be, besides schedule impacts, are there any, I suppose a construction impact would be bus pads and shelters on McKee as well as on Trevorton. What do we have there now, just pads?
On McKee?
Yeah, on McKee.
Just pads.
Okay, and the stop is on that wide area close to?
Not at this location. There's not a pad at this location.
Oh, there's not.
Oh, you mean on the south side or on the north side?
So I thought that there was a shelter and pad just west of Fish Hatchery Road.
Yeah, yes, on the north side.
Yeah.
Yes, so
It's there.
there's our bus shelter.
This would be kind of down here.
Oh, I see. You're saying that it would be a
So that would have to
different
be moved.
location.
So,
I'm
And
sorry,
but
why would you move that if the people have to cross McKee? Wouldn't they cross at the intersection with the light? Would they?
That's a fair point.
There'd be no reason to move it further west if they have to cross McKee. They should.
The reasoning would be that it's closer to the other two bus stops, but
Yeah.
I take your point, Rick. I take your point.
and where, in the other direction, where does the 75 stop?
What's the other direction?
If someone takes the bus from Verona to Fitchburg, is there something by Walgreens there?
I don't know if I've ever seen it.
Oh,
stop.
I know where it is. It's on Fish Hatchery.
It's right here.
After the turn.
That's where, there you go.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the bus lane.
Yep.
So that is not really convenient to Trevorton Pike.
Nope. But at least you have a signaled intersection to go across.
Yep. And a sidewalk to get down McKee.
Yep.
As long as we're on this diagram, I just want to point out that there is an abandoned bus stop in Fish Hatchery just south of McKee on the southbound side there. And I was thinking that we should have solid lines there since that there's no longer motor vehicles crossing that bus lane, and that might help drivers who want to turn into Yarmouth Crossing avoid going into that bus pocket and then immediately having to pull back out into the traffic flow.
You mean on the Brendan?
Yeah, they want to turn right onto Brendan.
Yep, makes sense.
What was that for? Did we
There
have
was a bus stop there.
Yeah, we
for
used,
what bus?
that was 48
Oh, okay. So
back in, before the redesign.
Got it.
When we lost that service to City Hall.
Yep.
Commuter service. Okay, we went down a rat hole based on my question about the 75 looping.
Yep.
What else should we know about? Are there any other decision points that need to be addressed, Ross?
I mean, not really. The only other possibility would be a discussion between, so for the proposed service, we will be keeping our current level of service during commuter times.
Half hour.
And then in between the commuter times, so from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Roughly, then, and at night, so from 6 to midnight roughly, we're looking at hourly service right now.
Hourly.
It would be, in my mind, feasible to reduce that to 90-minute service to save on cost here. Both of these routes outside of the commuter times are not going to see high ridership. The other thing to think about is the end time of this service. We're using midnight because that's the end time of the bus service in general, but another cost reduction could be moving that to earlier in the evening. That service would end on these routes.
So for the point of understanding the bus system, I think it would be beneficial to end at the same time as other buses, especially if we're only running it hourly. That means that, you know, if you were to run it close it off at, for example, 10, you would only have you're only saving 2 runs as opposed to half hourly 4. I worry a little bit about latent demand, and you know, right now people cannot count on this bus running all day, and therefore even if they are going to, for example, their work shift at a time that's on peak hours, they can't return today on non-peak hours, so they have to seek other ways to get downtown or wherever they're trying to go. So I definitely worry about low ridership projections based on knowing what the current service is, because this could become a lot more popular if it ran all the time and you could get across the city. Other questions?
I kind of have a different opinion about the evening portion of things. You had numbers on the previous slide that showed an option of ending at 8 p.m. or an option of ending at midnight. And there's a significant difference, it's 30% higher. And I would suggest that there's not a risk to starting out with the ending at 8 p.m. and then if there's feedback from citizens that say, boy, it was great to take the bus somewhere, but I couldn't get back because I finish after 8 p.m., then it could be extended sometime in the future. Like doing all of this at once is, as you say, going to result in low ridership initially. I think it's a bad look if we spend a lot of money and run a lot of empty buses around the city.
Notice that this is the end of the route, and so we're always going to see relatively empty buses, but I share your concern about the look.
When you prepared these, was there some reason that midnight was the starting point, or like kind of what you were leaning
Because
towards?
that's when all the other buses end.
All the other buses, meaning ones that run in Madison?
Yes.
And the ones that run in Fitchburg too.
Yeah, the B.
That are all
B does.
B and
okay.
the D.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if I was riding on 65 and I had boarded at Tiverton Pike and then I needed to come back home after 8 p.m., I could take B to Caddis Bend, and I'm 2 blocks away from where I.
Well, you could take B to Tiverton Pike.
But why wouldn't you just be taking the B to where you're going in Madison in the first place if that was
So the real
convenient for
question
you?
is, suppose that you live in Swan Creek.
Yeah, I see what, it's not just the endpoint or the additional things we're talking about. You're right, it's the Swan Creek. Or
If you want to leave, if you live in Swan Creek and you want to get to the airport, you're going to generally go on B.
Yes.
Until you get up to the north side, then you have to get a different bus. But the 65 is going to take you to the hospital for B, and you might prefer to, if you go east on the current service, so you could go west and get BRT level service downtown.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because this new connection exists.
Yeah. Okay.
Or if you want to go to Verona, for example, and you're living in Swan Creek or uptown,
right,
you would go there and connect to the 75 and go west.
Yeah, okay.
It's clear that the 65 and the 75 need to be coordinated. If we run a particular schedule for one, we should run the particular schedule for the other, that same schedule for the other. If the B is setting a fairly high standard of service, yeah, we're not going to be able to meet all the runs of the B with these 2 routes, because B is running every 15 or 30 minutes.
And B ends at midnight.
Yes. Okay. It might not, I would have to look up the actual timetable to see when it stops at
Yeah, it probably
Cats
finishes
back.
downtown at midnight.
Yeah.
So our last bus would be earlier than that.
Got it.
So, so the funds have become available through the wheel tax. What would be the implementation procedure to get this done, and when might it start?
So from Metro Transit, I've already talked to them about this. The soonest this would happen would be August of 26.
Oh.
So that would be our implementation timeline. And I would have solid numbers for a cost, and then, you know, run actual acceptance of this through council, because it is an extra cost that we would be approving hopefully in the spring of 26.
Mm-hmm.
And then how often can you change it? Like if we said run it till 8, when's the next, well, we decided we want it till
So
midnight.
routes can change quarterly because the bus drivers choose their routes quarterly. For that kind of change, I mean, I guess if you're asking what's the soonest we could change it after August of 26, it would probably be like 6 months, I would say.
So why is this not available to us in the winter of 25, 26?
Or the spring.
Because we have, right now, Fitchburg has not decided what level of service we want and exactly what service we want. And then to what I've given Metro Transit so far on what, hey, I think this is what we're actually going to choose. So this is what we should be working on, and then if we need to change stuff, we can change stuff. Is such a large change.
Okay, so they wanted to align with the major reroutes in August.
I think it's more of just how long it will take them to
Figure
get
this out.
consistent timetables and figure out the routing and everything like that.
Okay.
And this will also involve changes to routes in Madison. Like this, it's not just that we're extending these routes,
Or
because
they need more buses and things like that.
both the B and the 65 are already kind of at the ends of their timetables, so adding any service will need another bus unless you change service somewhere else. So we're looking at creative things in other places along the route that we could use to make this time up and not have to add another bus, basically.
And then if these become all day, everyday routes, then they probably get a letter.
Yes, they
So
would.
there would be a renaming of these routes.
Yeah.
So do we have to, what should we, let's say that August is our target date now, because I know the mayor wanted to have this as soon as possible. What do we need to do, what does staff need to do to make this all happen?
Staff needs to work with Metro Transit to finalize the estimates for this service that I'm showing here, and bring that to council for approval. There will be several more meetings that I have with Metro Transit to make that happen, but we'll come back to council, this committee. I don't know if it'll be Board of Public Works or not, but we'll come back with a proposal on the service.
So do you need decisions from us on end times or anything else right now?
I mean, this is not an agenda, this is a discussion item,
Yeah.
so, you know, I guess guidance on end times or hourly versus 90 minutes, or you can say we want 30 minutes all day.
Was 30 minutes and all day versus hourly, was that the $200,000 or $300,000 numbers in the estimates?
These numbers are for hourly.
Okay, for hourly.
7 days a week.
Yeah, it's the current level of service at the commuter times, and then in the additional times, nights, weekends, in middle of the afternoon.
And these run
That's
half hourly during peaks?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I would suggest that it's a sense of this committee commission member that we should go hourly. And I would be less forceful in suggesting 12 a.m. What would be alternatives for end time that you would be proposing? 10 a.m.? 10 p.m. I mean?
Yeah, I would say either 8 p.m. or 10 p.m.
Yeah, he had 8 on the first slide.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to see it go to 10 p.m. personally. Others want to weigh in on either of those two questions? Give Ross input that he can work with.
I think if we had to make a choice, I would prefer ending early and keeping the hourly. I think just from a sense of, especially folks who don't regularly ride, it's predictable. I know that it's gonna be there at 5:18 and 6:18 and 7:18, and I know when I need to get there versus it's a 90-minute here. I think if we're trying to reduce the barriers to getting people to ride it, I think a predictable schedule is one of those things. Fully recognizing that there might be, there's an argument to be made about if you're working second shift, then that really wouldn't help you if you're getting done at 11 o'clock. Like somebody at a Grace, for example.
How healthy is the pipeline for feedback on Metro service? Do we get very many comments?
Yeah, I mean, I get comments occasionally. Most of them are kind of frequent flyer types that I get comments from. Metro gets a lot more, the bus drivers
Here.
try to bring them back to the planning staff. I don't know how well that always works, but yeah.
As an alder, Logan, how do you feel like we will get enough feedback from this? Are you getting feedback now?
I don't know that I've heard a ton, other than just, I want something, It's been less specific about if I'm being honest, it's been less specific about what does it look like, and more just, we don't have it. Can we get, whatever it is, can we just get it here?
Can we get some more?
Yeah.
Maggie, any suggestions? Have you ridden the bus?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yep. I like it being hourly. That's the predictability I think is really helpful.
Or at least hourly.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
As opposed to 90 minutes.
Yep.
From the various informal discussions that we've had in here about people wanting certain things related to bus service that don't exist today, the clearest one in my mind is access to the senior center, both from the standpoint of transit as well as paratransit. And an hourly service that ends at 8 p.m. to me solves that need, because the senior center isn't open any later than that by a long shot. Mm-hmm. And I've not encountered anyone who has said, I really want to ride the bus at midnight or thereabouts. So
I think one thing is, if you're trying to go to a council meeting, sometimes those go after 8.
Sometimes we go after 8. So yeah, it's a good point. Yeah.
We just need our alders to not get on their soapboxes too much. So.
I think that all the need to drive the interested citizens to the meetings themselves.
I'll ride my bike, so somebody wants riding my handlebars.
Okay, but point taken about the senior center.
Yeah, that's been the clearest message for, at least from whatever.
Elizabeth, any feedback?
I agree with at least hourly, even if that means ending at 8, and maybe we can brainstorm how to first of all, I hope that we do a lot to promote when this happens next August, that it's happening, so that we can see an exciting uptick of riders, and maybe we can brainstorm before then how to get feedback from new riders about if they see the 8 o'clock being a barrier.
Okay. I already said 10 o'clock, but if it's 8 o'clock, for sure. Okay.
I did want to just ask one more quick question. Just on the routing, Ross, did I see that the 65 would continue on Cheryl and not do the loop by City Hall.
Oh, yeah.
For this.
I saw that too.
So that's kind of, I'll put it back on the screen. That's kind of up for discussion right now. That loop does add a decent amount of time. So right now, on this page, I still have it making this loop.
Okay.
But in my mind, if it stops on East Sherrill, it's a short walk to City Hall from that stop if it solves problems in the bus timetable. If losing this loop gets us up to Triverton Pike, in my opinion, I would make that trade every day of the week. But
you're probably right, but I do think that almost all the cars that are parked out here on Research are people parking there and riding the bus.
Because they're there before the library opens.
Goofy parking angles. So, like, I don't think that there's the same available parking. I mean, there's street parking down there, but there's other things that can use parking down there.
I mean, it's in my mind, it's half a block.
Yeah.
My only concern is just that if we're prioritizing access to the library, the senior center, and City Hall, and this complex, it is a short distance, and it is also, if you're coming in from the west, or coming in heading westbound, you have to cross Sherrill, and then you're also going up a pretty significant grade.
It seems, just sort of like a bad look that we take away a bus right adjacent to the City Hall campus.
Yeah, this is a lot worse than getting rid of the D1 at Nesbitt and Fitzrona. Ross, there's a connection shown here on East Sherrill between Research Park and Fish Hatchery, South Fish Hatchery. Does that go away?
This section?
Yeah.
If it did the loop, it would.
It would skip that area?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me say that I feel like that loop is way more important than the 75 looping around Brendan.
Yeah.
So I realize that it doesn't solve the same problems, but in terms of expense problems, I definitely want to run it to City Hall. I definitely don't want to take it away from City Hall. I would just soon, this is not on the table, but I would like it to go down to Nobel because of all the employment and residential down there. That loop used to go down there when I was taking the bus, but that was a route that went up Fish Hatchery, not a route that, it was the terminus of the route that went up Fish Hatchery. All right, any other questions for us, Ross? Any other input from commissioners, Rick?
Yeah, I recall that when we were talking about this before, we were talking about paying for a charging station on Triverton in advance of BRT.
So we were talking about that the last time we discussed this. We're not talking about that anymore. That charging station is going to get built with the rest of the BRT project.
Okay. So
they're building the one on Kennedy on the north side of Madison. That will be enough to
keep the buses juiced up enough.
So we're not talking about that anymore.
Okay. On to the transit plan, I guess. We have a chunk of it in here, and I'm not seeing any red lines, so what did you want to present and get feedback on today, Ross?
So this is the final version. I said final version. This is the version of the plan that I would submit to council and this committee for action, unless there are any major changes that we talk about tonight. This version incorporates the comments that we've made in this commission, and even some of the more vague ones I tried to work into the language. So basically this is the final version. If you've got any comments on it, let me know. Otherwise, this is what I will submit to council for referral to TTC, Board of Public Works, and then it'll go back to council for final action.
So this does have the recommended transit changes, and so do we need to revise this at all based on the last discussion? For example, we do not have a Triverton loop for the 75.
Right, so this does not need to be an all-encompassing
Okay.
document. That 75 loop, I think without some of the other stuff in this plan, we wouldn't be even talking about it.
Sure.
Where the 65 and the B have kind of their own utility without the other changes, so.
I would like to see the loop to City Hall shown in the Treverton Pike extension, even though we realize that it could be problematical in the implementation. Not just on my say-so, but anybody else think of that?
On 75?
No, this is the
65, yeah, 65.
So right-hand side, top. Yep, I can show that.
Oh, yeah, that's the map I remember seeing where it went away.
Yeah, I would also get rid of Fitchburg or get a G on there.
Well, these are just screenshots of the.
Understood, but white it out or change the spelling.
We know it's Fitchburg.
I know.
Well,
People might think we're sloppy.
It doesn't need to be in the
Diagram.
right.
Yeah, so can we put that back, Russ?
What?
The City Hall loop back?
Yeah, yeah.
As you know, this is aspirational, so we should give all our aspirations. I see that we've got, there's a solution to the D problem, which is to reroute the 75. No. Yes. So reroute the 75 through Fitcherona at Nesbitt.
Yes, this is, I guess I should have highlighted that as a change that we haven't really talked about.
And those people who might be concerned about that, who live on McKee or Maple Valley in the area that we're abandoning will now be served by the D2.
Correct. So this
And
is,
that's better service.
right. This is the existing map on Metro Transit's website. They have not updated it to show the new D2 service, but the D2 does run. We're not losing any service by this.
Yeah, I think that it would be great to update those maps to show because that could fend off some questions about what's going on.
And if that solves the issue of a lack of bus service to the kind of the Fitcherona Nesbitt corridor, I think that's been something that's been discussed quite a bit at council, especially from the side of, or the sense of on the northeast corner of that roundabout, just like one lot in.
Yep.
We approved a senior, at least some portion affordable senior housing on a lot there. So if we have some semblance of bus service there, that was a factor in us deciding to amend the comp plan and move forward with that, and that project is moving forward. So I think it would be a welcomed relief after losing service, although obviously still many months down the road, but I'll take it.
Okay, point of clarification. This 75 route is based on the commuter service that exists today. the 75 that would be the all-day service would not come down this far, right? Would loop around Super Target?
We haven't finally decided that.
Okay, so there is an opportunity for the non-peak 75, if we were to create it, to loop around Fitchburg and Nesbit instead of Hard Rock and Limestone.
That's a possibility, yes.
Okay. Should that be discussed at all in the transit plan, or is it?
I think we can, I don't think it needs to be. I think that can be kind of in discussion with Metro, because it won't be shown, it's not shown on any maps, those like kind of route variations.
Yep.
So
I was just thinking maybe like a text note.
I could add that in.
Because I think we say someplace else that, look,
Yeah, I
yes,
can add that.
we don't have under the proposed routes the all day, every day 75, right?
The hours expansion,
Yes.
it's right above this item.
Oh, I see it. Okay. Yeah, if we could just put a paragraph there that says that this would enable us to bring service back to that area, that would be good. Any other comments, Maggie? Elizabeth?
Nope.
Rick?
So from my recollection of what we've talked about previously on this, section 1 reflects the overall City of Fitchburg's comp plan as it relates to transit. And we're just echoing what was already said in the comp plan. And there was not an expectation that the city would be making revisions to the comp plan. So whatever we have in section 1 came from the comprehensive plan. Is that a reasonable description of what section 1 is?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then section 2 is what we, the TTC, have established as goals, actions, and measures of success to achieve the goals in section 1. And I made a few notes in here, and I can certainly send you the notes. Like, I was trying to annotate the document, and I asked you the question about like editing the document and all the rest of that. So we had talked about changing single occupancy vehicles to personal vehicles. And everywhere in here, it still says single occupancy vehicles. Do we want to make that change, or do we not want to make the change to personal vehicles?
So I left it as single occupancy vehicles because that's the language that our sustainability plan uses.
Oh, which is different than the comprehensive plan.
Yes.
There's a sustainability plan, which also is
Which
somewhat-
they don't necessarily need to be exactly the same, but I thought it was prudent to use the same language.
Yeah.
When talking about this goal is basically the same as a goal in the sustainability plan.
Yeah, I just thought in the discussion that attempted to tie it to metrics, there was no metric around single occupancy vehicles. There's nothing that counts the number of people inside a personal vehicle and says there's just one in there, that's single occupancy versus.
There are estimates for single occupancy vehicle travel that we have access to
And that's
through
the
our
way it's
sustainability
defined.
coordinator.
And that's the way it's defined, as single occupancy. And
Yes.
some government body makes those estimates.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Or some commercial entity,
Yes, or
streetlight.
data we buy. Yeah. Okay, in that same set of goals.
Can I talk about that for just a second?
You bet.
Rick,
Yeah.
before you go on to your next one. I had this marked as something I wanted to talk to Ross about, with respect to the language in the referral sheet for the transportation plat. We talk about vehicles in there, and it's talks in the same sense about bicycles and pedestrians. And it's a language thing that I think we should try to enforce in our writing, which is that bicycles are vehicles, and we want to talk about motor vehicles, we say motor vehicles. So that we constantly remind people that in the public and other consumers of these documents that bicycles are vehicles. Some people have in their mind that bicycles are not vehicles, and when we say pedestrians, bicycles, and vehicles, we are reinforcing that. It's kind of on the same topic as your first item.
Yeah.
Okay, back to you.
In the goal 1, we have 3 C's: convenience, cost, and comfortable. And I threw in a 4th C as I was thinking about our city, and it's comprehensible. And that's for non-English speakers that might very well want to ride transit and aren't necessarily as clear on, especially if it wasn't hourly, but the bus schedules and other things. Do we do anything to help non-native English speakers use transit?
We have Metro Transit provides, I believe, English, Spanish, and Hmong of all or almost all of their maps and pamphlets, and we have those available at the 3rd floor desk in City Hall.
Because there's a lot of, there's a lot of things in here where we talk about encourage people to use transit, encourage them to carpool, and making it comprehensible to folks who don't speak English. So anyway, that was the 4th C that I threw into the 3 C's.
And that's in section 2 goal?
It's
So
within goal 1, section 2, yes.
So we could add that because that's not comp plan language.
Right.
What do you think, Russ?
Yeah.
There's a section also in there, and I'm not sure how it originated, that it says, to the extent possible, the city should make transit service available in new neighborhoods at the time of first occupation. And then right after that, we admit that it's cost prohibitive and it probably won't happen. And so I just wondered about those 2 paragraphs and why we write that we wish we could do it, but we also know that we can't.
I think the reason that's in there is probably because in the last writing of this plan, the first sentence was in there, the first paragraph was in there, and then someone said, but that's really hard.
And so we wrote the other paragraph
I'm guessing
and
so.
just left it the way it is. So
That's me,
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It just seemed like we say it and then we say, but it's not going to happen.
And to your point, Rick, to the extent possible kind of couches it in that reality that it may not be possible or practical.
Yeah.
So maybe we change the word possible to practical, and then we can get rid of that.
Oh yeah. Okay. It just the second one is more pragmatic and says, we ought to try to serve where transit demand exists and not before it exists. So
I don't know, we don't use that philosophy with roads.
Right.
Or bike facilities.
Right.
So.
But we wrote in here that it's cost prohibitive.
Well, I would be happy to nuke the second paragraph and make Logan's suggested change to the first one.
Oh, okay. So just to
but
the
I would
send practical.
I'd rather keep possible because I think it's a priority. If you are trying to make a transit-oriented neighborhood, then it should start out with transit in it. And we're actually doing that with Terra Vesta. Terra Vesta is not really built out, but we have a digression in there so that it does have transit service, even though, it's not fully built out yet, and we're not. And likewise, the 65 serves Uptown, and Uptown has a long way to go.
Yes, it does.
Well, Terra Vesta's almost built out. There's one phase left, so,
Progress.
yeah, next year. So.
I'm fine with deleting that third paragraph.
Trying to just sort of skim through my comments here, so. There's still discussion about conducting a park and ride feasibility study, and I thought we said that we'd already done that, and we'd already concluded that it wasn't feasible to build park and ride. Am I recalling
What
that?
section is that in?
I have it on page 17 of the packet, and it's also page 6 of the document in the cost-effective section. Conduct park and ride feasibility study to determine if any feasible park and ride locations exist in Fitchburg, and then construct park and ride lots or create agreements with existing lots near major route termini.
Mm-hmm. So I did change these from what was in this plan originally. The conduct park and ride feasibility study bullet said it was more definite. It was conduct park and ride feasibility study to determine the locations of future park and rides in Fitchburg.
Okay.
So I changed it to determine if any feasible locations exist. And then the construct park and ride lots, I left in there because it has the or create agreements with existing lots near major route termini. And a discussion that we've had a couple times, maybe not in this commission, but for staff is like with Pick and Save, or like the Walgreens or the whatever the Benvenutos is going to
Super
turn
target
into.
for the non-peak 75.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So those are still things we actively endeavor to do. They're not past history. Like, we're not in here, that I'm aware of, having any discussion about planning a park and ride feasibility study.
Yeah, my goal is usually to tamp down any kind of discussion of park and rides. The west park and ride, I can't speak to Sun Prairie, but the west terminus of the A is very successful because it captures a lot of traffic from west of Madison, that they can come there and park and then get downtown fairly quickly. If the B ran to Oregon, that would be the kind of thing that you would want to do. Fitchburg maybe would have a park and ride there, but having a park and ride at near the McKee and fish hatchery is just like in the middle of the urban service area. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is these are our goals. These are the goals that we're saying from 2025 to 2030. And we're saying that's one of our goals. In the next 5 years, we're going to conduct a park and ride feasibility study. And if we are, then great. If we're not, then should we be revising things that are no longer relevant?
I'd be happy to take it out. Others? Elizabeth?
Yeah, and unfortunately, the intercom just went off, so I hope you can hear me and not heard. But I was just gonna mention that the park and ride is one of the things WISDOT identified as park and rides around the transit lines was one of the things WISDOT identified as a potential reduction, would lead to vehicle reduction on the belt line, and maybe wouldn't need to be, therefore the belt line might not need to be expanded along with a whole bunch of other things like transit upgrade. So to the extent that the park and ride fits in with a package of things that would lead to the belt line not being expanded, I think that we should keep this on here as part of that discussion.
That was the Beltline PEL study, Elizabeth?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that too.
And we did, when we submitted our comments, list the park and ride as one of the things we were supportive of when Andrew did that at the very early stages.
Okay.
That doesn't mean it can't change. But.
Yeah. Others? Thoughts?
I mean, I guess I don't have a problem with keeping it in. It's not obligating us to do that, or construct it, but if there's, I think if there's something like southeast, maybe right at 14 and MM that could make sense, or it's outside the urban service area and land that really can't be developed in any other way. I think there are places where it could make sense. So I'm not opposed to keeping
B and MM is another.
Yeah.
That's fine. If we think that we're going to pursue park and ride between now and 2030, and that's like an important aspect of what we work on in here, then keep it in. I just haven't heard us pursuing that at all. It seems like a relic from a previous document.
All right, you got that input? Next.
I'll end with this comment. The goal 3, it talks about intra-city of Fitchburg transit service, and there's this sort of like philosophical thing about city and Madison Metro, and we tried some things and they didn't work, and it's kind of very retro in my mind. Intra-city of Fitchburg transportation, to my mind, is solved by Lyft and Uber, and I don't think we're actively investigating any of the things in goal 3 anymore. And again, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think that this is something that is a current goal of TTC.
I mean, the biggest thing for me in here is the getting service to City Hall.
Yes.
And there's a bullet here that is determine feasibility of extending or adding fixed route service to the civic campus.
Yes.
Other priority areas. So that's my reasoning.
And we have that as a route change, like as a
Yep.
planned route change, like that's the thing.
And
Well, it might be valuable to record the failures in the transit plan and point out this one as the one that you highlighted as the one that we're currently pursuing and that we're not pursuing these others.
Sure. Yeah. If this is something that belongs in an appendix or belongs in historical versions of the document, then fine. It just points to a 10-year-old intra-city transit feasibility study and then stuff we tried back in 2017, 2018.
And to that point, the bullet, like secure grant funding to cover some of the capital costs to purchase vehicles. I'm trying to check right now, but I want to say that in the mayor's CIP, which we adopted, it was removed.
It's not yet.
Okay.
It's removed.
Okay.
All right, well, I think that the sense of us is that that should be trimmed down.
Okay.
Thank you.
And by all means, record the historical stuff so people, very likely we would see that request come back if we don't say we tried it and
Right, yeah.
it didn't work out so great.
So my plan will be to just focus on fixed route stuff in that goal.
Yep. And fixed route stuff and history. Okay, any other comments on this discussion? Ross, go.
Okay. Hello. Okay, I guess I got told now. One thing I wanted to ask about, Ross, and I maybe should have done this under the last agenda item, with the John Nolan Drive construction project. When we look at the routes, the 65, and I assume traffic is going to be just gnarly through there at rush hour. Does that change our calculation for route hours, or because it's in the city of Madison, it shouldn't change like our billing, but does that change the feasibility of some of the changes we'd want to make to the 65 if we have to add vehicles, because it takes 15 minutes to get up the causeway where right now it takes like 4 in rush hour?
So you're right that it wouldn't change our billing, because that's a City of Madison project, so any detours or whatever would be covered by the City of Madison. And it shouldn't affect the feasibility of any of our changes.
Okay.
So.
Okay. I think that answered both my questions.
Okay, Ross, do you have anything more to ask us? Do you feel like you have what you need?
I think I have what I need. I've got, these 3 or 4 or 5 changes, and then you guys will get a chance to vote on it.
Okay. So let's move on then to item 8. Logan, anything from the council that you want to share?
I can make it very quick. On August 12th, we approved the mayor's CIP capital improvement plan with a number of amendments. One amendment that I proposed that was approved was adding bike lanes on Larson Road. What form it may take, Ross put in a great memo if you want to go check it out about kind of some of the conversations that are had. It's really messy because right now it's on the city limits and it's east side is Blooming Grove, but Blooming Grove won't exist in a couple of years, and so then it's Madison. So it's kind of a long-term vision, but we wanted to put some money in the plan for future visioning on that.
I asked a question about that. Ross, do you know what the Blooming Grove dissolution year is that? Is it like
27.
27, oh, okay. And I'm sure the city of Madison will be all over that. They won't want to do that. They might even do it before the dissolution.
So in my memo, they don't want to do it before the dissolution. We asked them that.
Okay.
They want to wait to talk about it until it's part of their city.
Okay.
On August 26th, we approved a resolution authorizing approval of change to the Bugs Drive and Basswood Drive intersection. So that'll basically move the cul-de-sac a little bit further to the west so that Sub-Zero can secure Bugs Drive, which is a private road. Instead of it kind of coming into what looks like a 4-way intersection, it'll be a cul-de-sac a little bit further to the west. So that'll help them with their traffic flow. And then the last thing I can also share is that I am representing Fitchburg on a committee of elected officials, an advisory committee on Highway 18151 study from McKee Road to Dodgeville. So we had our first meeting back in August. Got to go to Barneveld, which is always a fun drive. And
I thought you'd ride your bike.
I enjoyed it. So it's helpful to see in action what we're discussing.
I urge you to let me know whenever you have a report from that committee, and we'll get you on the agenda under number 8.
Sounds great.
Okay. That concludes your report?
That concludes my report.
Bicycle and Pedestrian Commission?
Did you go?
I went.
Okay.
I'll make that report then. Much of the discussion, and I forgot to review the agenda, but much of the discussion was about their upcoming visit to present to the Committee of the Whole. And so as things stand now, they gave me 10 minutes to talk about Bike Fitchburg, so we'll be adding that in, give a little history and how Bike Fitchburg complements the bicycle and the purposes of the Bicycle and Pedestrian Commission, how we are different. But they're working on that, and it would be, I think, terrific for all of us to either watch it or review the tape. The B-Cycle implementation from the Transportation Alternatives Grant was complete. We have 21 stations with 4 new stations. We now have 4 stations west of the Verona Road. They are among the westernmost B-Cycle stations in the system, as well as having the southernmost B-Cycle stations in the system. I cannot think of anything else. If anybody has any more remarks on that.
Will there be ridership data that we can see for B-Cycles?
B-Cycle has very detailed ridership, and they are very pleased with the performance of the Fitchburg stations, especially considering they're on the periphery of the system, instead of on the isthmus where the bikes are like always churning around. But I think that if we want, we could make a request and have B-Cycle visit us and tell us that they have not share data with you, right, Ross?
No, they coordinate with Phil, Group E, our
Okay.
sustainability specialist mostly.
Yep. And another thing is that maybe they would present it to the Bike and Ped Commission and.
Oh, yeah, that's why I was
Yeah.
thinking
I
that
think that
out of that commission,
Yeah.
we could just get some numbers.
Yes.
Yeah, how many rides, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Can you pass that along to Phil? Great. Any other questions on Bike and Ped Commission? Okay, plan. I guess we'll just hear from Gabriella next time. Or anything, unless anything, you've already said what percolated up of note to the council level. So.
I'm just looking through the minutes from the 19th of August here. A couple rezone and ADR for Gigi's Playhouse on Botanical Drive, which would be just east of the stop sign or stop light with Sain and Lacey, kind of just up to this in Hartung. There was public hearing consideration of rezone and ADR for the City on a Hill Church expansion, the 7-story apartment building, 5/2 at that site, which would be on the B route, bus route, is moving forward as well. Let's see. I think those are kind of the main standouts.
Has anybody thought of anything that we should be dealing with in the future that we want to make sure we appear on a future agenda item? All right, if you do see anything, please email Ross and I, and we will try to get it slotted on. Our next transportation and transit meeting will be on October 9th. We have skipped our 2 meetings for the year, right, Ross?
What was the other one?
I think we've only skipped one.
We skipped August.
I'll double check.
I think we skipped one that you and I agreed on, and then we skipped another one where I just didn't get an agenda, and so I checked and the agenda said we were canceled.
I'll double check, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I do want to let commissioners know that a week without driving is coming up. That is a opportunity for, it's a national movement that's led by America Walks. The idea is that about 1/3 of Americans, or I'll say 1/3 of residents in the United States don't drive, principally because they can't, and this includes, of course, children, elderly who've lost their ability to safely drive, people whose licenses have been suspended, people who are not documented, people who may have medical conditions or cannot afford a car or insurance. So there are many, many reasons. And the idea is to get public officials and transportation agency employees, planners particularly, to take a pledge to not drive alone for a week, to just learn what the challenges are that people who are not drivers face. And so there's a statewide observance. The office of our state senator is going to have a Senate resolution recognizing the week and urging those in the target audience to take the pledge. And again, if you go to weekwithoutdriving.org website, you'll see that what the purpose is, and that not having to drive someplace is not a failure, but it should make you think about, well, what do people who can't drive, how, they're going to miss this medical appointment, or they're not going to be able to take that job. So there are a bunch of Dane County agencies, including the MPO in Fitchburg, that will be making either proclamations or adopting resolutions recognizing the week. And there will be 3 community discussions in Madison, Sun Prairie, and Fitchburg to discuss the themes of the book, When Driving is Not an Option. There are some books that have been made available free for those who are interested by AARP, Wisconsin, and our discussion will be Thursday night of the week without driving, and I'll give you those dates. It starts on a Monday, September 29th, and extends through Sunday, October 5th. And our discussion will be on Thursday, October 2nd. We wanted it on transit. Alder Jetzer was able to secure the community room at Terrace Point on Fish Hatchery Road at Traceway. So it'll go from 6:30 to 8, and there'll be a panel of non-drivers and a facilitator that explore the themes of the books, like who are the non-drivers and what do they do when they can't drive. Any other announcements or important things that we should know about?
I can add one quick future-looking thing from council and plan. The 2 neighborhood plans that we discussed at our last meeting will be before the plan commission at their next meeting, which I want to say is the 19th. Okay, a week from today, and then at our next council meeting, which is the 23rd, they'll be up for a vote.
Okay.
In their almost current, the form that we saw them in when we looked at them?
There might be some revisions, certainly not wholesale.
They're pretty similar.
Yeah.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Our second. Thank you, Maggie. Seeing no discussion, all in favor of adjournment, say aye.
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 Elizabeth, thank you for taking the extra effort to join us. We are adjourned.